I think this is my 4th year now doing AI workshops. And AI obviously is growing and growing and growing in our lives. You can't even go to like Bojangles' website now without it asking, do you want to try our new AI tool? It's like, no, I want a biscuit. I don't want to use your AI. Since it is growing so much, we're seeing a lot like the early 2000s .com bubble, that people are putting so much time and money and resources into AI that's getting so bloated. Eventually, AI is going to burst, just like the .com bubble did. People are trying to cash in wherever they can. Some people are going to get really wealthy. Some people are going to lose their shirts. For us as teachers and users of AI platforms, though, what that has done is it's bloated the amount of tools that are out there, so it's hard to know what's actually beneficial or useful to us and what is just noise that's going to eat memory on your phone or your computer. So I'm going to focus in on 3 tools that are pretty new, some of which you may already know, some of which you may not. I'm going to talk to you about them, and then I'll go through and just show you a quick example of what some of them can do. So the 3 that we're going to focus on are Notebook LM, NoteGPT.io, and then the newest version of ChatGPT, which is GPT-5. When we first started doing these workshops, I think the very first one I ever did was on like ChatGPT 2.5 or GPT-3. Since then, there's been 3.5, 4, 4.0, 4 plus. Now they're on 5, and I'm sure there's going to be another beta one coming soon because it's constantly growing. So for each of these, I'm going to tell you a little bit about them and just some good use cases of how we can use them in class. My goal is less than 15 minutes and be through with this. All right. As we're going through, if you have any questions, let me know. But like I said, I'm going to talk about them first, then I'll show you the examples. First one is Notebook LM. I'll go ahead and tell you on the front end, teachers, this is an incredible opportunity for us because the newest build version of Google Classroom that we have in Walker County Schools as a Google school has a direct integration with Notebook LM. So if you see in Google Classroom, some of y'all might have noticed this, when you go to make an assignment in the bottom left-hand corner, it says Notebook LM, direct integration. So it used to be, and for most AI platforms, if you do something really cool in the AI platform, but you want your students to interact with it, then you have to run something that's called an API in the background, basically code running in the background and get the 2 systems to talk to each other. Because we're a Google school, it's doing that for us if you use Notebook LM. So why do I like Notebook LM? Well, for one thing, it's from Google, and Google tends to stand behind a lot of their products, and they try to be on the cutting edge of some of the technologies, and I really like the way that Notebook LM is laid out. So it is from Google. You may have heard people talk about AI say that they're, quote, training bots. So basically that means they are putting information into the large language model, and that is that model's understanding of the world. So if you use ChatGPT I think is up to like 1.2 trillion different like resources, websites, books, music, movies, docs, that's been trained on. So it knows a little bit about everything. When you start going through and building your own bots, you can decide what information to train it on. So it only knows what you train it. They call them notebooks. So rather than calling them bots, Notebook LM calls it notebook, thus Notebook LM. But what's really nice is you train it to only know what you want it to know. And so I'll show you here in a second why that is really beneficial for us as teachers. Generates lots of tools that we can use depending on what you upload or train it on. It can create its own podcast for your classroom. It can create full-fledged videos. It can create mind maps. It can make summaries. It can make flow charts, practice quizzes. And again, it integrates directly with Google Classroom. And so I'll show you some of the possibilities with that here in a second. So Notebook LM is the first one. Second one is NoteGPT.io. So essentially this is a repository of AI tools. So if you had 500 different AI platforms that each have their own little special sauce. It's like GPT grabs from all of those and puts them into one place. It does work on a token system, meaning it's like pay per use. Every command you have it exercise costs, hundredths of a penny or whatever. But what's nice is, as teachers, if you register for them as a teacher, every month they give you a pretty good amount of tokens. And I've been using it for a while and I've never run out of tokens. Now, when I was doing it as an individual, ran out frequently. Since I've signed up as a teacher, haven't run out of tokens. And again, the nice thing about this, lots and lots of just tools, AI tools, all in one spot. And I'll show you a couple of my favorite ones from there. Last one is the newest version of ChatGPT. It does have the ability now that you can train and utilize your own bots. And I'll give you a couple usage cases here in a minute of how I'm using it, not necessarily in academic circles, but ways that I've just been using it for my own. ChatGPT now has a study mode. This is one of the biggest concerns. Obviously, academic integrity is a big concern of teachers when it comes to AI usage in the classroom. Another, beyond just like plagiarizing, is that there's been this concern, well, they just type a question into the computer and it just spits an answer out to them. It's like there's no learning in that. So OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, has kind of heard that, and they created a new study mode. And when you interact with GPT-5 in study mode, it, rather than just verbal vomiting content out to you, it takes on the persona of a tutor. And so it asks you guiding questions, it suggests resources, but it does not just come straight out and give you answers. So it's really, really helpful. It now has, this is very beta, they're still working on it, but it's something called agentic mode. So when we're talking about AI agency, it means the ability to actually carry out processes rather than just give ideas. So if interacting with ChatGPT normally is like having a single teaching assistant, you're like, hey, I need some help getting this lesson together, or hey, give me some ideas for this assignment. Using it in agentic mode would be like having 4 or 5 different teaching assistants who each, you tell them what you need them to do and they go out and do it for you. So literally you can say, hey, I want a lesson plan based around these standards. It's going to be a day. I want X number of resources for it. I want you to build a slideshow. I want you to build my exit ticket. Go. And it's like you literally start seeing your screen processing, and it's like 4 or 5 different virtual computers working on everything that you asked it for and then giving it to you as a deliverable. So rather than saying, man, you could ask these questions, it's like, okay, I built your quiz for you. Or, wow, your slideshow, you could say this on slide number 1 or this on slide number 2. It just builds the slideshow for you. One of the biggest things about the newest iterations of ChatGPT that's been really helpful is the ability to upload files into it. So it used to be when you interacted with ChatGPT, it was only based off of you type, it gives you a response. So all of your communication was happening within the chat box. Now you can upload PDFs, you can upload slideshows, you can upload video files, you can upload images. It has a wide array, Excel spreadsheet files, and it can actually analyze and interact with those files as well. So think about like if, as team lead, if you have a spreadsheet and you need to do some analysis on it, you can then put that slide or that spreadsheet into it, and it can actually interact and do analysis of the spreadsheet for you. Very helpful. I always put the caveat there. Anything that you put into ChatGPT specifically does go on to, it's in their usage agreement, it goes into training their bots. So always de-identify, respect people's privacy, things of that sort. If you don't really necessarily want to have to worry about that, there is a platform, it's actually the one that my wife uses at UTC, that's called Boodlebox. And Boodlebox does a lot of the things ChatGPT 5 does, but they have 2 added bonuses. One is they are FERPA compliant, which means whatever information you put into it, it protects all of your privacy. Second thing is they guarantee that nothing you put in is used for training their LLMs. So, and they like carry all kinds of insurance and so on. So that's why universities and organizations are starting to look at Boodlebox, because they're one of the few that's saying data you put in is secured and we carry the insurance on that. So, but for us, you can just de-identify, add, give students pseudonyms, something like that, and it can be beneficial for it. But the ability to upload files, huge upgrade for ChatGPT. If you use the app, I like the ChatGPT app. One of the earlier benefits of it was that you could actually speak with it, that it had a voice mode, but it was kind of wonky. They've come a long way with the voice mode, and also what you can do by taking images or videos on your phone and then interacting with the AI. It also now has Sora access, GPT-5. So if you've been on social media and you've seen any of the like ridiculous videos of, an entire, flock of seagulls morphing into, dinosaurs and then attacking people on the beach, and it looks like hyper realistic, and you find out later it was AI generated, because of course it was, but in the moment it looked very real. Most of that's coming from Sora. Sora is an AI video generator, and I'll show you an example of a video that I made in about 20 seconds. The hyper-realistic ones that, I'll be honest, y'all know I spend a lot of time around AI, saying AI, teaching people about AI. Sora 2 freaks me out a little bit, the newest version of it, because it's getting really difficult to tell what's real from what's fake. Sora 1, which is what most of us have access to, I'm actually on a waiting list to get into Sora 2. Sora 1, you can still tell, like, we're already starting to be condition trained to be able to see, oh yeah, that's AI generated, just looking at it. Sora 2 is really difficult. But I'll show you what you can do with Sora here in a minute. So these are the primary platforms. Let me just do a quick run through so you can see what they look like real quick. So this first one is Notebook LM. I'm going to show you two things that I really like about Notebook LM, aside from the fact that it pretty seamlessly integrates with Google Classroom. So remember I told you with Notebook LM, you train your notebook or you train the bot only on the information that you want to have. So one of the frustrations that I had as an earlier adopter of AI into planning and into developing resources for students and trying to differentiate instruction was we could say, hey, we're doing a lesson on 3 major religions of the Middle East and I want this, this, and this. But the problem was the bots that we were using were trained on over 1 trillion different pieces of information. And so they would include all kinds of information that, yes, it's related to those topics, but they didn't talk about them the way that we talk about them, or they went to more depth than we did. The nice thing with this is you upload whatever resources you want to know, and that's the only scope of the world that it has is what you put into it. So with this one, I put our actual slideshows that we use in class on the 3 major religions in the Middle East. I gave it the YouTube videos that we show students about the 3 major religions in the Middle East. I even included study guides I use. I included just some docs and PDFs. And that is what this bot or notebook has been trained on. And so that's the only image of the world that has, its only knowledge of the world is what I put into it. So that way as a teacher, I know whatever it talks about to students, it's talking about it in the way that we talk about it in class. It's using the resources that we use in class. And so I can have it do really neat things, like create automated podcasts. And it can do a 5-minute, a 20-minute, or a 1-hour podcast. And the quality is ridiculous. You prompt it just like you would with anything else. You can tell it, hey, I want it in a friendly voice. Make sure that you highlight these, talk about it in this order. But this is an example of one of the podcasts that I've had it make. Is my volume. She muted it. You've worked for the other sessions, right? Yeah. For some reason, it's not playing right now. But I'll send you a link if you want to see, but it basically creates a 2-person podcast where it's a guy and a girl and they're talking through all the major presets. And it sounds just like hopping on Spotify and pulling up a podcast. So also you can see up here it makes video overviews. So I'll show you an example of video. So what is economics? Notice on this one, I only trained it on 2 pieces of information because we only spent, a day on what is economics. So I just gave it my slideshow and I gave it one of the videos that we assigned to students. I told it that I wanted it to make me a video. And here, hopefully it'll play so you can hear it this time. Here's the video.
Hey, welcome. Today, we're gonna tackle a word that you hear all the time, but let's be honest, it can feel a little intimidating. Economics. What is it really? Okay, let's dive right in and break this whole thing down. You know, if you've ever looked at a financial news report and felt exactly like this cat, just completely and totally lost,
told it what I wanted the video to be about.
But hey,
and I told it I wanted to pull from my slideshow, pull from that video, and it made this for me.
What is it?
So think about in your own classes.
At its
You're looking for a video, looking for a resource.
Economics is just the study of how we manage our world.
Most importantly, you want to make sure students are getting videos that uses the language that you use, that talks about concepts the way you talk about it. You can have it make a video for you.
And are your slideshows or your presentations, are they bullet point or are they like?
Mine?
Yeah.
It's a mix of bullet point and prose.
Okay.
Lots of images.
Because I didn't know how I would integrate the information if it's just like a little bullet.
Yeah, so it's really smart. It's really, really smart and is able to do that. Let's see if I can get it to, see if it will play the audio on this one. For some reason it's not playing the podcast right now.
Ever found yourself staring at some
Okay.
economic chart, feeling completely lost, a bit like that confused cat meme, going, what is going on here?
Happens to the best of us.
Right, economics can feel super overwhelming sometimes, but today, that's our mission, to untangle it. This deep dive is really about boiling down
So this
the
podcast, it sounds like something you'd stream on Spotify.
Exactly. We want to
It's
give you
completely
a solid framework.
a bot
what economics
that is talking
actually
based off
is,
things that I trained it to
basic
talk about.
problem it tackles. You know, resources, scarcity, different economies.
And you'll see there's this interactive button.
Think
When
of
you use
as
it
your
with
shortcut to getting
Google
really
Classroom,
well
students can
informed about
actually
something that,
interact
let's face it,
with it,
affects
ask
pretty much everything.
Okay,
questions,
let's dive in then. Let's
type
unpack
summaries,
this.
things like
The
that.
core definition we're working with today says economics is the way society organizes the
So that's Notebook LM. Think about it as a Quizlet because it will do flashcards, it will do mind maps, it will do formative assessments, but that you can also train to produce media. And you put everything in and it takes you 5 minutes to set up and it generates enough stuff that you could do a couple days in class on it. Like I said, with the podcast, you can go 5 minutes, 20 minutes, or an hour. So if you have a student that maybe is going to be out sick, or a student that's down ISS and you're like, I'm not going to take the time to record myself giving this lecture. Feed your resources into there, click a button for it to generate either the video or the podcast and send it to the student and go on about your day. All right, so that is Notebook LM. So this is NoteGPT.io. And when I say that it has a ridiculous number of tools and resources available, I'm just going to show you. So each of these drop downs is a different tool that it has. It can do a whole lot. From homework help to worksheet generation to automated tutoring. One of the things I like using it for is, so I'm working on writing a book right now, and I've read it so many times, I'm going cross-eyed reading it at this point. And so I'm in listening phase. And I can actually upload chapters of the book from a PDF, or what I'm doing here, I just copy and paste it in, and it will automatically turn it into an audiobook for you. So I'll show you an example of what that sounds like.
Of breaking free from the control of fear, we must first recognize its effects on us physiologically. Fear
We've
is
come a
not
long
just
way
an
from the
idea,
robot
it's embodied.
AIs.
When you sit under a steady stream of dire warnings, Your body does not interpret them as just words. Your
We
nervous
also have an
system
entire
responds
list of
as if
different
you are under
voices
threat.
that you can use.
The chest tightens, the pulse quickens, vision narrows. You are nudged into fight, flight, or freeze mode. Not
So in addition, if you came to my presentation last year when I talked about HeyGen, that would do the video cloning of you, where you can make a 30-second video and it'll clone your face and stuff. This actually has AI voice cloning. So if you have resources that you want to send out to students, but you're like, I don't want some like bot generated voice, I want them to hear my voice, you can actually do that on here and then use your voice as one of the automated voice responses that can be reading whatever documents that you put in. So tons and tons of resources available. Math teachers, lots of math stuff in notegpt.io. All right, and the last one to show you is some of the new things that you can do in ChatGPT. So I mentioned the agentic mode. And so with this agentic mode, I was just like, hey, make me a math slideshow. I want to have 6 slides. I want to cover this and make me an exit ticket. And it did it. And it actually documents the resources for you of where all of this came from. So where in the past it would just say, hey, on slide 1, you could say this. On slide 2, you can say this. Now it just auto generates it for you, and it also made the worksheet for me in text form for the exit ticket. I told it what I wanted to do. I went on, did something else, came back, it was done. I mentioned Sora. So this is a video I had Sora make off of I think 1-second prompt. And all I said was, I want a teacher sitting at their desk looking annoyed while a marching band of zombies dances behind her. Because that's how random my brain is. And that's what I came up with. This is Sora 1. Sora 2, you can look at this now, and again, we're getting to the point where we're like, I can tell that that's AI. Sora 2 would look as real as us sitting in this room right now. It's exciting, it's also frightening with what you can do with some of the voice cloning, face cloning, and with the AI generation. My mom, I love her to death. She's constantly sent me videos. She's like, do you see this? I was like, AI generated, Mom. That's completely AI. And she's frustrated because she was like, how am I supposed to know the difference? And it's getting really hard. But we as teachers, we can either bury our heads in the sand and pretend like this technology doesn't exist. That may make us feel more comfortable, but we're not preparing our students and getting them ready for college, ready for work, ready for life if we do that. We have to be willing to engage in technology that's going to help our students prepare for careers that don't exist yet. Because ultimately that's what we're doing. With technology advancing the way that it is, the world changing as quickly as it does, we're helping students prepare for a world that we can't even imagine yet. If 10 years ago, somebody came in and was like, hey, in 10 years from now, you're going to be able to do all this stuff on your computer, they probably would have been laughed out of the room, or somebody would have thought it was some sci-fi. But we do it, and it's free. And we have all these resources. So I encourage you not to be afraid, but rather to approach using AI with students as you're equipping them. Just like they have to learn how to read, just like they have to learn how to do math, just like they have to learn how to critically analyze, we have to teach them appropriate use for AI, otherwise they're going to get left behind, especially with the emerging careers. All right, so those are just a few tools that I'm using that I really like. I had mentioned the one that my wife uses, Boodlebox. If you're interested in learning more about that, reach out to her. She nerds out over it. She's actually been working with the CEO of the company to fine-tune the way that they're serving teachers at the college level. And a lot of times they offer like a free month or something, but it's a really cool tool if one of the reasons you're not wanting to engage with AI is concerns about privacy and protecting your information. Again, they're the only game in town right now that is FERPA compliant. All right, any questions? I know that was quick, drinking out of a fire hose. All right, thank you all. I hope you use some of these tools, and as always, if you're wanting to try using something in AI to streamline your life or to help with differentiation in your class or make something just easier on you, let me know. I'm here to help. All right, thanks.